Let me go straight across to Dushyant Dave, who's a senior advocate. He's also a former president of the Supreme Court Bar Association, joining us on the broadcast. We'll be going to our guests in the next 5 to 6 minutes after I finish speaking to Mr. Dave. Mr. Dave, good evening and thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. Yes. Okay, let me start by asking you what you make of Justice Gangopadhyay's step. He was a sitting judge of the Calcutta High Court, suddenly says, I'm quitting, and next day goes on and joins the BJP and now is in line to get a Lok Sabha election. Now, many people will say it's not unconstitutional. They'll also say there's precedent. They'll also say it's not illegal. While it is not unconstitutional and illegal, is it moral in your view? And if not, then why?
Well, you are right. I mean, and no judge can be prohibited from really entering into politics once he resigns or once he has retired. But the question is of propriety. Independence of judiciary is the, benchmark of our constitution. In fact, independence of judiciary is the basic structure of the constitution. And to maintain that basic structure, to ensure, you have to make sure that the judiciary remains apart from the executive as far as possible. Now, you are right that there are a large number of instances, starting with Chief Justice Meherchand Mahajan, Justice Rao, Justice Hidayatullah, Justice K.S. Hegde, and Behrul Islam, Krishna Iyer. Many of them joined politics, and I would say to that extent, it was improper. But what is happening in last few years is something which is really shocking. It virtually amounts to judicial corruption, which is so writ large, starting with judges like Chief Justice Sadasivam, who decides a case in favor of a very powerful politician, becomes a governor. Chief Justice Gogoi, who is accused of sexual harassment and decides many cases in favor of the current government and becomes a Rajya Sabha MP or nominated by the government of India. Justice Nazir, who was party to the Ayodhya judgment, he suddenly becomes, a governor of Andhra Pradesh. These are instances of clear quid pro quo. To my mind, these are cases of clear corruption. If you are, if Supreme Court is sermonizing the MPs and MLAs for having, having given votes after taking money, then Supreme Court should also be watchful about its own brothers and sisters who are doing this kind of, open, I would say, impropriety, illegality. And it's really disgusting to see that these judges can be rewarded and are being rewarded by the party in power so openly. There was a committed judiciary in 70s and 80s, and it was not right. I'm not for a moment, saying that they were good. They were bad. But what is happening today now in, current period is something which is unparalleled. It is unacceptable. And it should never have happened in the history of, India's judiciary. It really strikes at the independence of judiciary, which is, according to me, these examples, including this Calcutta judge, clearly shows that independence of judiciary is really a matter of past.
Okay, you're saying the independence of judiciary as it stands right now is a complete myth. Can I then ask you, Dushyant Dave, and I'm going to quote what Sanjay Hegde said on the show yesterday. He said what Justice Gangopadhyay has done essentially is prostituting judiciary to earn a Lok Sabha ticket. Is that how you view the entire saga, the entire affair as well? Because, there are many people who are listening who will say, Arey, but he quit. He's a citizen of this country, and he, like every other citizen of this country, has a right to have a political affiliation and fight an election if he wishes to.
Well, I won't use the words that Sanjay Hegde did. But what I would definitely say is, that there is something very sinister about these judges, starting with Sadasivam, Gogoi, Nazir, and, Gangopadhyay. We don't know. It is impossible for us citizens to know whether they were talking to the party in power while they were sitting as judges and deciding all those cases in favor of powerful politicians and the government, and making all kinds of utterances. I mean, Justice Gangopadhyay's utterances were not only unparliamentary, but they were absolutely unacceptable from any angle, sitting on the bench. I mean, you may have views about a particular individual, Nothing wrong about it. But as a judge, you do not make those expressions, which expression showed that he was definitely in league with party in power, and he was against a party in power in state of West Bengal. Now, this, according to me, raises a very, very serious, alarming situation that what kind of judiciary we are having today, where judges are openly hobnobbing with party in power and are in contact with them. We won't be able to know to what extent they were in contact, to what extent they were being they were compromising with the party in power and the powerful politicians. But the fact remains that you have decided cases in favor of the party in power or the powerful politicians, and you have been rewarded. These are clear cases of quid pro quo, and they amount to judicial corruption, in my opinion. And all these judges, frankly, someday we must consider whether these judges should be tried, prosecuted or not. If you are going to prosecute politicians and bureaucrats for accepting bribes in any manner, then this is nothing but accepting bribes in clear forms, be it membership of Rajya Sabha or governorship or things like that. To my mind, these cases have raised very alarming situation in today's independent judiciary. And I don't think, it is going to stop here. The way judges are being appointed today and the way judges are conducting themselves openly, there are judges who are so biased in the Supreme Court and other high courts that they only decide cases in favor of party in power. Now, naturally, once they will retire, they will all be rewarded. Now, this kind of an open bias was never seen in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. Today, what we are witnessing is certainly a judiciary which is, I think, really towing the line of the party in power and the powerful politicians. It's unfortunate. As being a lawyer for 46 years and somebody who really respects and admires and loves judiciary, for me, I think these are very sad events. But what can we do? Citizens are not able to understand what's happening. And nobody within the profession is really, these are issues which Bar Council of India or the bar associations of various courts must take up. They must condemn this behavior. But that's not happening. So this is something where, independence of judiciary is being lost. And once that is lost, rule of law is lost, constitutional morality is lost. And I think democracy will be seriously compromised. It is compromised. It's getting compromised every day. And Gangopadhyay is only the last of the many examples which are going to follow in years to come.
Okay, Mr. Dave, that's you're leaving us with a rather cynical worldview of what's going on with India's judiciary. You are saying that judicial independence as it stands right now is a myth. We leave it there for the moment, Mr. Dave. Thank you very much for your time and your perspective here on Mirror Now.